the reality is we're always testing each other. Women test unconsciously, automatically all the time. They test men, they test women. We're all sort of filtering ourselves at the beginning and not being really real. So you want to be able to find out what her true nature and true character is going to be, especially under duress or during potential perceived conflict. That's when you're really going to know what a person is really like. So first of all, when should you test a woman? Should you start testing her right from the get-go? Well, I think you need to actually discover a little bit more about her, unless you're only looking for a very, very short term, maybe one night relationship. And even then, there are reasons why you definitely do want to test her to make sure that you're not going to get yourself into a troublesome Me Too situation. So essentially, if you're looking for a relationship, then you don't want to test too early, because she's going to get turned off, especially if she's a good one, if she's high value, and you may miss an opportunity with someone who's actually really good. So initially, you're just going to be playful and teasing, and that's kind of a low-level testing in a way. We'll get into that in just a moment. But essentially, you want to wait for a couple of dates, because if you haven't even gone on a second date, then you don't even know if you really like this person. So unless, again, you're just looking for a very short relationship, then you want to wait a couple dates, 2 or 3 dates. So to be clear, you're going to test a woman more so if she's actually potential relationship material, or if you are actually hoping or looking for a relationship, or if by being physically intimate with a woman, you tend to get attached. So you want to watch out for red flags if you are the kind of guy who gets attached to a woman by being physical with her. And then you definitely do need to do some testing. When you're testing a woman, it's important to know what you're actually looking for. You are always gauging her reaction. So if you test her ethically, she should react in a mature way that is not confrontational or completely off the wire or off the rails or just exaggerated for what the test is, because it's natural to set boundaries. If we are being tested, if she's high value, she'll do it in a way that is respectful. And if not, then she may be exhibiting red flags that you need to pay attention to. And remember also that because women's primary need is to feel safe, women automatically and naturally test more often than men do naturally, because you're still physically stronger than us. And even if you're the same size as us, you had more testosterone in the womb, so you come out with denser muscle mass and just general strength. So women need to feel safe emotionally, but also physically. And you can note this for yourself. If you're a guy, you probably know that you don't wander around all the time wondering if a woman is going to harm you. That just is not something that will naturally cross your mind in a physical way in a natural setting. Whereas women are always unconsciously on alert to make sure that they're in a safe situation, unless they're young and or drunk and not really paying attention. Yeah. Okay, so let's get into the different levels of testing, and I'll give you a couple examples in each, or at least one. So novice level, this is initially, and these are kind of progressive, or can be depending on, again, how her reaction is. And I'll give you more details on how and when to test based on her reaction later in the video. But for now, let's just start with novice level testing. So the first test that you can use is playful teasing. And this can even be kind of along the lines of flirting as well. In fact, it is flirting, but you're also testing her to see what her reaction is. It might be something as simple as, have you ever tried dyeing your hair red? Because redheads are better in math. Anyways, so something like that. But the key point is that you want to choose something that you actually do like about her. So if she's blonde, then you can say, have you ever tried dyeing your hair red? You just want to see if she's going to be like okay with the idea that maybe something's not perfect about her. But eventually you'll reveal that you were just teasing her and that blonde is your favorite color, or that blonde is the only color that suits her and she's beautiful in that color. As long as you're not reacting in that way to her reacting. So if she has a poor reaction, you got to be able to stand your ground and be like, hey, I was just kidding. I was just teasing. You passed. Something like that. The key point is that it's something that you actually like about her. That's the ethical part, because you're not there to destroy her self-esteem. You want to just test her and then be able to truthfully encourage her or to build up her self-esteem by saying, actually, you know what? That's my favorite feature. I'm just teasing you because you probably hear it all the time or whatever. Okay, next one in the novice category. So number 2, you're going to disagree on a point that could be potentially important. So this could be something about values or deep-seated or core beliefs like religion, politics, very touchy subject right now. But again, the key is that you're going to challenge her on a belief she has or some kind of statement she's made on the particular topic or subject, but it has to be something you actually do agree with so that in the end you can say, I actually agree with you. I just wanted to see how you debated that topic or how you could handle being challenged if someone else has a different opinion than you. So that's if she's reacting maturely, not flying off the handle, calling you names or shaming you or basically red flagging. And the point about, again, ethically is that you're not choosing something that is against your own values so that it's easy to fall back and not have that negativity, that temporary negativity and conflict you've created be something that's going to be impactful in the actual relationship because it's not really what you do believe. You're just testing her. So ethically, it's just to see how she reacts and how she stands, but don't let it go on for too long because then that's just mean. Now, side note here is that if she disagrees with you, she may want to set boundaries or agree to disagree. And she can have feelings about the disagreement, or she may be disappointed that you're not on the same page if she thinks that for a minute. It's okay for a woman to set boundaries or to have standards. High value women have high standards. If you want me to do a video on the difference between high maintenance, high value, let me know in the comments. But in the meantime, don't push too far and don't expect that she's just going to fold on everything that you challenge her on and go along with what you want, because that's not actually a great quality. See some of my other videos on what to look for in a keeper. Okay, so she's passed a couple of these tests and now you're on to second or third date. Generally the third date. So this would be the moderate level or medium level testing. And it's the third date she pays rule. So what I generally say is, in order to test her in this respect, what you're going to do is you've paid for, let's say, the first and or second date, assuming she hasn't, and you're going on a third date. By the third date, I always think that a woman should at least reach for the check, if not definitely insist on paying or pay for dessert or offer to make you dinner or do something reciprocal, not just take. So in order to find out what she's really like, you're going to choose a restaurant or a place, even a coffee shop, that is within her budget. So by now you know it's within her budget. And when the check comes or when the bill comes at the end of your meal or your coffee, then, or if you're standing in line for coffee, then you're going to let her take that bill. So you can either say, well, I guess it's your turn, or you can say, should we split this one? Because even if she's a traditionalist, she should not react poorly. Her reaction is the key here. So even if you don't want her to actually pay that because you're a traditionalist, you just want to see what her reaction is. And then you can always say, even if she takes it, because you might be mad and she'll take it because you've expected her to pay, then you take it from her and say, look, no, I really don't feel comfortable with that. I was just testing you. I was just teasing you. But that's basically the gist of it, is that you want to gauge her reaction. And if you are like a feminist and do believe in splitting the check, then definitely split the check. You'll find out if her values match that. If they don't, and she's claiming to be a feminist, you want to watch my video on feminists, then maybe it's either not a right fit or maybe she's a hypocrite. And you have to decide if that aligns with your values. And if not, you can address it with her and discuss it. And again, gauge her reaction. That can be another test to see where she really aligns in terms of feminism and traditional values. Next one, along the same lines, is canceling plans. Now, again, there's a way to do this ethically. So there's 3 different ways you can cancel plans. 1, with an apology. 2, with a suggestion of rescheduling. Or 3, with both. Now, here's when you're going to use those, or when you're not going to use any. 1, if your excuse is actually legit, like you have a workplace emergency or a family emergency, or you've been in a car accident, like a real emergency, then you don't need to apologize. Well, you don't need to apologize for things that are completely outside your control. Now, this is because you're testing. In normal circumstances, you might still apologize if you're already in a relationship with the person, but this is in the testing stage. So legit reason, no apology, no rearranging plans, and you're just going to see how she reacts to this. The second way that you might use this is if you have a semi-legit excuse. So you've been asked to work late again and you don't really have to, or a friend has shown up from out of town unexpectedly and they're only here for one night and you want to see them. So these are the excuses where you can cancel plans, and this time you will either offer an apology or a reschedule. So again, it's not the level of what you should offer in any normal circumstance if you're already in a relationship, but because you're testing, you're holding back a little bit of something to see how she reacts. And then the third level would be if you really have no legit excuse, like you're ditching her for other friends, or you are just don't feel like going out, or something that's really lame. If that's the case, then yes, you are actually going to throw in an apology and a reschedule because you're ditching on a lame excuse. So those are the ways to make it an ethical test. And again, if you apologize and you try to reschedule, even if it's a lame excuse, then you're going to see how her reaction is. And then you can actually follow through on, well, depending on her reaction, on plans with her, or carry on with your plans that were your excuse. And again, it all depends on her reaction. So if it's a good reaction, like if she passes essentially, then you can go back and say, you know what, I think I can probably work next Tuesday. I can make up for this next Tuesday. Let's stick with our plans. But if it's a bad reaction, definitely don't concede to bad behavior from her. Key point, reward good behavior, not bad behavior. I'm going to say that again. Reward good behavior, not bad behavior, even when you're testing, as long as you're testing ethically. Okay, advanced level testing. You're going to check out and verbally acknowledge to your girl another woman. All right, how to do this ethically, because this is really touchy and you shouldn't do this unless you're in advanced level. Now remember, stay tuned because I'm going to let you know how often and when you should use these at the end of the video here, which we're coming up to. So in checking out another girl, it has to be something where it's exaggerated enough, like some quality about the other girl is exaggerated enough that would be impossible for any normal guy to not notice, and realistically something that is not a feature in someone you would actually want to be in a relationship with. Of course, some woman who's like totally overdone on all the plastic surgery and stuff might be something that many men would want to tap, but they may not all want to have a relationship with a woman like that. So you're definitely only going to want to choose, again, this is the ethical part, a woman who you definitely wouldn't actually want to have a relationship with. And it has to be exaggerated enough that anybody would notice that person. And I've actually experienced this in a previous relationship, and I felt completely safe. I didn't feel dissed or anything. And we were actually made a game of it together, like, whoa, like how much stuff has she had done or whatever. So if she's mature and secure within herself, she's going to have a better reaction. But there are a lot of women who are very insecure, especially if they're younger and haven't fully accepted themselves yet, or have not dealt with maybe baggage around their physical looks or whatever, that might be really, really sensitive about this. So you have to be really careful. Now, if you know that the girl that you're with or want to be with or are dating is super insecure about her looks, then don't do this with someone in person. Choose someone on, in a movie or on a TV show or something like that, so that it's a little bit more safe. She doesn't have to worry that there's going to be any kind of, inappropriate exchange of glances between you and so on. And again, only do this if you know that you are not really going to damage her. So that's the key. And the key is it's got to be someone that you actually wouldn't want to be with instead of your girl. That's the ethical part. Okay, now when to test and how many of these tests should you do? It's all going to depend on her reaction. So for example, if she passes a phase 1 novice level test, then skip the other one and maybe go to a level 2 test. If she passes that, don't do the other one. Skip ahead or decide if you want to go to the level 3 advanced test. But If she's not passing the first test, then definitely do the second test in the novice level. So you want to test her a little bit. She doesn't pass because it really freaks her out. Then go with another little one, because if she's really sensitive about being tested and you go straight to level 3, it's just not going to work out, even if she's potentially a keeper. And definitely watch for red flags along the way, because no matter what, if you do your part and you're not really harming her self-esteem or doing any of this testing unethically, then she should be able to handle this and manage it with grace and respect toward you. Even if she is setting boundaries, even if she is saying, that bothers me, I really don't like that. Like, that's okay. That's a healthy way of reacting. She doesn't have to like it, and she can express that to you, but it's the way that she expresses it that is important. So, what'd you learn? Do tell. Thanks for sticking around, and I'll see you next time.